In this tutorial, I'd like to show you how we can use our twisting pop-up mechanism. And if I just open the card there, you can see what it does is it creates this lovely twist and lift as someone opens the card. And onto that, you can place something like this, a gift voucher, or you could put another card within a card on the face, have something else decorating it. It's a very simple mechanism, so that it uses our all-occasion die, and in this case, we're using the twisting pop-up die here. So let's show you how it all comes together and how we can make cards like this as well. But before I go on and do that, let's just talk a little bit about what we've got here, because a couple of things to note. First of all, I find this works very well on A5 cards, A5 square, as I've got in this instance, or a regular A5 card. Because if I close this up, you'll see what we've got to do is allow enough height so that whatever's inside is hidden. So we've got our height there, and obviously by the sides as well. Now we can't come out too far or else it starts to hit a little bit on the sides. Again, it's just a case of experimenting and seeing, depending on what you've got on there. And you'll notice that there's a little cut within the die that enables you to slip something in the card. Now if I just come back to my working model here and show you, again, you can, if you want to, just stick something on the face here and just hold it on and use that to come and pop up as well. So it could be a card, it could be, I think I've done an owl in the past, anything that you like really, but we're just making sure it doesn't catch the sides as it comes up, and equally that it doesn't, nothing sticks out and doesn't interfere with the mechanism as it opens. So it's pretty much straightforward, and most things will go in there without too much trouble. You'll notice it just can slightly catch, but it once it's in, the surprise is there. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to do that using our die, and we're going to cut out with our template here these shapes with a die to give us the template. So paper sizes, well, I work on either 160 GSM or 250. It's really up to you. If you've got only 250, go for that, it's not a problem. I like the 160 if you're beginning, just because it's a little bit thinner and just helps you with the folding really, but they're equally as good. And by and large, if you've got a heavier card or something to put on, then the 250 is absolutely fine. You can see the die looks like this. Again, just pop it through the machine, whichever one you've got. It will cut it and it will emboss, and it'll give you these score lines. It will emboss the score lines for you. So when it comes out, it's going to look like this. And on this one, and I'm going to work on the 160 GSM here, this is a 250, and I would recommend the super smooth cards as well. They're a little bit I think they just go through a little bit better. They hold the fibres are more tightly compacted as well. Now if I just do a little comparison here side by side, you can see I've gone ahead and just drawn those lines in so that you can see them a little bit better with the pencil, and that's really how they're going to come out. They'll score, and in reality you'll see those quite well, but the camera, it doesn't really pick it up quite so well white on white. So again, that's what the pencil lines are for. That's your cut line, which just holds your object in when you've made it up. Okay, so you can fold these directly from what we've got here. You'll see the score lines there, but they are just a decorative feature on the die, and of all of them I found this was the trickiest, this little tab up here. So I think it wouldn't be a bad idea just to use your scoring tool, and that's your guidelines already laid out for you. Again, if you're doing this, you wouldn't need to put a pencil line on it. That's just me showing it up for you. Okay, so there we go. That's our basic mechanism there. And at this stage, it's just a case of folding everything. Now I'm going to just fold that over there. I've done the score line, so that's a really nice, crisp, even fold. Do the same there, and just work my way down here. So that's the top part. And again, I've got the little tab here, and just fold that back onto itself there, like so. And then we've got the back of the mechanism here, and this base line at the bottom is just going to fold in half, like so. Crease that, and these ones go the other way, so it wouldn't be a bad thing just to fold those now like so. Now, because I've pre-creased this, it's folding quite easily, but can I just show you another technique? If you find it hard to fold lines like this with your paper, just pop a ruler down. Now this is now technically back to front, it doesn't matter. You just pop your ruler onto the line there and just pull it up like that at an angle, and that will give you your lines just to crease as well. It can help with the folding of the lines. There we go. Now you can just fold everything every which way so that it works wherever you do it. That makes the mechanism a little bit smoother normally when it works as well. So don't worry too much about the crease lines. Crease it backwards and forwards, it'll be absolutely fine. So the next thing to do is now pop this together, and we're going to glue it, and I'm going to use a wet glue to do this. And what I'm going to do is just bring this over and then glue this part on to the back here. Now it's important that if I just show you here, it's basically we're going to make almost like a box shape up. Now to explain that a little bit more clearly, I'm just going to pop a couple of pencil lines in here just to show you how that works. So that's my one fold line and one there, and you can see possibly just down here again, if I just put some pencil lines in, those are our fold stroke crease lines in the middle there. So what I'm going to do is pull this all the way up to that point. This is the important part. I'm not going to glue it on the base line there because it wouldn't be right. I'm going to come up to the second line on the tab, and that will just fold over and glue, and you'll see that it's going to create a little box shape. It's slightly under tension. So the next thing to do is just get my glue out. Now I recommend a good wet glue to do this, because the whole thing really does need to stay together quite well. So a little bit of wet glue on there. And again, the important thing is I'm going to pull that one all the way up there, line it up nice and straight with that top line there, and just fold it over. A little bit of pressure on there. And there we go. That'll glue nicely. And if I just pop it on its side here to the camera, you'll see now that we've got our line there and our line there. Effectively, I've created almost like a box shape. Can you see? Which is why we had that one offset at the time. Now when it all folds up, which we're going to do in a moment, it will all lie flat within the card. Now the first ones are always the trickiest, and I'll probably be over explaining things, but don't worry, just follow the video and you'll be absolutely fine, honestly. Okay, so now we come to the folding, and before you do that, another little handy hint that I would recommend is that you mark out which are the gluing panels. So when we come to fold, you've got to have these sticking out forwards, and again I'll show you that in a moment, and that will make sense. So what I'm going to do is just with a little bit of biro here, I'm using biro, not pencil, because the pencil will not allow the glue to tack so much. So a little bit of pen's probably the best thing to use there. And those are the parts that are going to glue and hold on, I can just show you here, to the card as it opens. That's what creates our movement there. So marking those up will just help you understand the folding. Now comes the big moment when we fold this all together, and it might take a little bit of time to begin with, especially as if the paper's a little bit thicker, if you use the 250, or your creasing isn't quite so sharp. But what I would recommend, you can see I'm just holding this one here. Those are our glue ones. And I'm just going to pop this on its back like so. We've got our glue tab there. Holding that one in my fingers on the left-hand side, I'm just going to pull that tab over like so. Hold it there and just push this one back like that. And I'm creating an arrow. Can you see? And what I have got is my blue parts both here and here as well. And now when I pop this on the desk, you see that lies absolutely flat. Now at this point you could have then glued that tab, but I think it's easier to make it as a box shape, as it were, first, and then do this. So let me just explain that one to you again. And once you've made this up a few times, you'll see it's quite straightforward. If you've ever done origami, you'll be an expert. So that's where we are with the tab. I'm just popping that over there. It doesn't matter, it could be left or right, it really doesn't matter. I'm just trying to give you a guideline here. What's important that those bits with our blue, the gluing tabs, stay out on the outside. So holding it with the left hand, I'm going to pull the right hand over to join up there, and that's now my glue part there, and I'm going to just push that bit which is on the back in, so that that now folds like so, and that creates what I call an arrow shape. And we've got two little pockets you can see either side, so then we're able to glue that into our card, and then this will twist as it opens up. Again, just follow the video and you'll see how it all comes together. I'll just pop that one out flat again, and just very quickly I'm just holding that, and it's going to fold in and over like so, and then pop that one in there. Okay, and that's our mark for gluing, so we know what we're going to do. But once we've got this to this stage, we're ready to glue it into the card like so. Now we know that we've got it right because those bits with our blue biro, as you can see here, are both on the outside, so that's going to work. And what I've done is designed it so you get a little square cut off there, and that's you line up to the baseline there. Okay, so again we're going to use a wet glue. Now I use 250 GSM. I think as crafters most of us use that as our basic cardstock, and that's more than adequate to pull this up. So gluing is fairly straightforward, no real surprises here. Okay, the gluing's straightforward, but what I would recommend is you get nice and close to the edge, because actually it's these edges that create the lift of the card, and they'll pull away otherwise. So a good quality wet glue. In this instance I'm using the Cosmic Shimmer, the acrylic glue, which I favour for all my construction projects. It dries very quickly, so you don't want to linger too long with it, but boy, it's strong and it's good. Okay, now you could again experiment with this. Do you want it nearer the bottom, nearer the top, or just go for the middle? Again, I'm going to just do this by eye. I'm going to just tip my card up to create a ledge on the line there, and just pop that flat part against it, rest it down, and as most things with pop-ups etc, you let it find its own way. A little bit of pressure on the glue there, because we really want to make sure that's nice and dry before we open it. I know this is always the bit, I always call this the anxious part when we get ready to open it up. But if we move it too soon, there's a lot of pull on this mechanism and it will come off. And there we go, turn round and open up. Now at this point I should mention that where you want that as the front of the card has to be the opposite when you stick it down. So that should be hidden as we stick it down on that side if you want it to come facing here. I'm also facing another camera, so I'm doing this really for camera number 2, that it's open there. So that part, if you're going to stick something in, has to be on the right hand side. So that would be wrong if we're sticking something in. And again, if you want to pop something on the face, I would just always do that on the right hand side so that it will open up towards you there. If I come back to my work one here and I'm looking down and I'm looking at it on camera 1, so it's that side there, and it just, that face goes onto the right hand side. That way you can either put something in there or just put a piece of card over and cover it. If I come back to the mechanism, it's not really the end of the world, because you can see now everything kind of disappears. The mechanism becomes secondary, and if you cover this totally with something, you can't even see the mechanism very much. It doesn't really show up, but it does give a lovely surprise, and it's a really nice little extra for something inside your card. Takes a little bit of time to make, not too bad though, and I think after you've made the first one, you'll find that you'll be churning them out. But it really is a very quick, easy and quite exciting way of getting some pop-up action inside your card. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and it's given you the confidence now to go on and make some cards of your own.